Let's get it, YouTube. How's everybody doing this morning? Uh, it's I don't know how the weather is where you at, but it's nice and sunny and quite warm around here with a little breeze, as you can see behind me. Just wanted to stop in for a little while, tell y'all a little funny story uh, about one time that I was in California. Actually, this kind of comes into two stories. One was when I met Rachon, and the other one at the same trip I met uh, wow, uh, John Singleton. So my Rachon story goes as such. So I was staying in Studio City. That's a city up in the mountain in California, right off the Pacific Coast Highway, not far from Malibu. If you drive a little bit on the freeways, which is super, super crowded, what takes you 5 minutes to go somewhere, it takes you 20 minutes. So if you're going an hour away, you better start an hour and a half early, because it's crowded at all times of day. So, fortunate, where I was staying at, they had restaurants and stuff in there. I played basketball with a lot of little actors. I would say they call B actors or whatever. But one morning, decided to go to Hugo's. It might be Hugo's, but I think it's Hugo's or Hugo's. It's Hugo's. And went for breakfast. So it was probably about, what, 10 in the morning. They got a nice little crowd that, that comes in and whatever. So I said, well, they got a little line, so I'll wait. I went in a little gift shop, picked up a few things. When you're visiting another town, you're out shopping, you might see something. I browsed around, bought a few little items and things, and got back in line. So you know how these lines are. It depends on how fast people eat. So people eating and they leaving, they eating, they leaving. We moving up a step at a time. We talking to the people in line. Everybody enjoying themselves. It's a good Saturday morning. You know, people off work, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm steady moving up in line. I'm just moving up in line. I'm moving up in line. So finally, I get to the front of the line. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. We probably got about, 10 minutes. That's cool. We only been here an hour. Hugo's is famous for a line. So, this guy, we would call him the host, he came up and he was like, excuse me. I was like, yeah, what's going on? He said, well, could you step out of the way? I was like, step out of the way? I was like, why would I step out of the way? I'm the next to be seated. And he said, well, he was asking politely. He wasn't on no smoke time. None of that. He was, trying to do his job. So I turned around behind me. Two of the cutest dark-skinned dudes ever. One was a teenager, one was a grown man, and they had a lady with them. So I look at them, I say, ooh, they is nice looking. I ain't thought about nothing. I turned back around. I'm looking at this guy who's asking me to move out the way. So he asked me again. I was like, no, I'm not moving. I've been right here. I've been standing in this line a long time, dude. I'm hungry. Well, I didn't stop at the gas station or nothing to get no snacks. I've never had been to this restaurant before. So he said, I'm gonna ask you one more time to move out the way. I said, why? He said, because your name ain't Layla Rashawn. And so I moved to the side, and the lady, who was just an ordinary looking lady with these two fine dudes, come by, and then I looked hard. I had to look hard to see if that was her. And I said, oh, that's Layla Rashawn. I ain't got no problem with that. That's sunshine right there, boo. I am not mad about that. So of course, I had to wait another 10 minutes, and got my food, and the staff was nice. So if you ever in Studio City, if Hugo's is still open, stop by. Because it's a friendly atmosphere. It's a family atmosphere, and it was a good time for me. I just ran into Layla and didn't know she was standing right behind me. Uh, Max Factor, he is the baddest dude ever that came up with makeup. I'm not even gonna lie. He good. But I'm watching YouTube. I'm saying that he good. So now let's fast forward in this trip. So one night I decided to go to the club. At the time, I still was disabled a little bit, so I'm on crutches. Uh, hadn't even graduated to a cane yet. Was on crutches, but I still, when I'm out of town, I got a problem. I have to go to the club. So we go to this club. The line is, oh my God, it is so long. So I tell my friend, I said, well, I'm not standing in that line. She talk about, yeah, we got to go to the back of the line. I said, no, we don't. I don't really be like standing in the line, right? So she was like, okay, whatever. So I go to the rope, and I open the rope. And the dude looked at me. I looked at him. I was like, what's up? And he just opened up the door, let us in. She was like, oh, shoot, right? So we in there, we chilling, we having a good time, the party bumping and jumping. Just so happened, I had been in D.C. probably a month before that. And I had went to this club, and there was this dancer there. So just lo and behold, somebody had flew her out to California, and she was at this club this night. Right? So I was like, oh, okay, what's up? So she's dancing and whatever. She doing her thing in California, well, at least at this club. They had big buckets, 5-gallon buckets, and, they was, this dude was just filling them up. He was just filling them up. I was like, oh shit, she getting some money. I ain't mad at her. She done came out to LA. Right. So during she kind of took a break. She came over to the table because she recognized me because she had saw me in DC. Right. Plus she had saw me in Detroit because somebody had I don't know if she's from Detroit or somebody had brought her to Detroit for an event. I just so happened to be at that event, met her, boom, boom, boom. How we say, here we go again. We in California, we meet again. So she see me, she at the table. So John Singleton come over to the table. He introduced himself, and we proceeded to have a good time that night. And he made it rain. He made it storm. He didn't make it rain. He made it storm. These guys out here think they making it rain. No, you're not. You're making it rain. But he was making it storm. I wasn't even mad. So we had a good time that night. And we, we got through that little thing. We had a little incident at the end. And, I handled that or whatever. But it wasn't with John Singleton, and it wasn't with the young lady that was dancing. We had a good time. But it was the people in the club. Because people was coming up to me because I bypassed the line. And they was like, who is you? I was like, I'm not nobody. I'm just here to have a good time like everybody else. They was like, but they don't be letting nobody in to the rope. I said, well, it probably had something to do with my crutches or whatever. That probably was it. I said, I ain't nobody. I'm just regular. They was like, but John Singleton's at your table in the dance. I said, I just happen to know her. I just happened to meet him that night. I said, shoot, I had a good time. I don't know about y'all. I was good to go. And that's it. That's the whole story. There was some more things in there, but we ain't going to add them all. But that's it. That was my little Rachon sunshine story. I was standing in front of her, and they told me to move out the way. And I did. I didn't cause no problems or scenes. We don't do that. Okay. YouTube. Peace.